Hello friends, welcome you to your own YouTube channel. In this video we will discuss about milk production in India, the evolution of the dairy sector in India, and the stellar role played by dairy cooperatives since the launch of Operation Flood form an integral part of the country's remarkable growth story after independence. Today, India is the largest producer of milk in the world, contributing 23% of global milk production. During the 1950s and 1960s, the situation was radically different. India was a milk deficit nation dependent on imports, and the annual production growth was negative for several years. The annual compound growth rate in milk production during the first decade after independence was 1.64%, which declined to 1.15% during the 1960s. In 1950 to 1951, per capita consumption of milk in the country was only 124 grams per day. By 1970, this figure had dropped to 107 grams per day, one of the lowest in the world and well below the minimum recommended nutritional standards. India's dairy industry was struggling to survive. The country produced less than 21 million tons of milk per annum despite having the largest cattle population in the world. Following the visit of late Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri to the Anand district of Gujarat in 1964, the National Dairy Development Board (NDDB) was created in 1965 with a mandate to support the creation of the Anand pattern of dairy cooperatives across the country through the Operation Flood program, which was to be implemented in phases. Dr. Varghese Kurian, widely renowned as the father of White Revolution in India, was the first chairman of NDDB. Milk production in 1950 to 1951 stood at merely 17 million tons. In 1968 to 1969, prior to the launch of Operation Flood, milk production was only 21.2 metric tons, which increased to 30.4 metric tons by 1979 to 1980 and 51.4 metric tons by 1989 to 1990. Now it has increased to 210 million tons in 2020 to 2021. Today, milk production is growing at the rate of 2% in the whole world, whereas in India, its growth rate is more than 6%. The per capita availability of milk in India is much higher than the world average. In 3 decades, the 1980s, 1990s and 2000s, the daily milk consumption in the country rose from a low of 107 grams per person in 1970 to 427 grams per person in 2020 to 2021 as against the world average of 322 grams per day during 2021. Every year, since 2001, 1st June is observed as World Milk Day by the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) of the United Nations to acknowledge the importance of milk as a global food and to celebrate the dairy sector. In India, the birthday of Dr. Varghese Kurian, on 26th November, is observed as National Milk Day. The government has facilitated the dairy farming infrastructure through its initiatives such as the development of the National Dairy Plan, a sustainable development-focused framework for the sector along with general empowerment schemes such as the Jan Dhan Yojana and the Startup India initiative. Hello friends,